Welcome. I'm here with my friends today to bring to you a somatic movement series. Today we're going to be working in the lower body, in the pelvis, the hips, and how that transfers into the legs, ankles, and feet. So the way somatic movement works is it integrates the body so that the body moves more intelligently, and that works from the deep nervous system, and it's very soft and very quiet. And it takes a lot of kind of inner focus and concentration, which is why I'm going to be just talking and leading you through it. And I have my friends here, Mate, Tiffany, and Eric here to demonstrate, and you'll be able to kind of watch as you're doing it as well if you need any kind of assistance with a visual aid. So I'm going to ask them to begin by drawing their knees out to the side and standing onto their feet with their knees bent. Good. So just feeling that your body is quiet and soft on the floor, you're going to bring your focus first to the right ankle and the right foot. And as if you could only move just this part of your body, nothing in the spine or the pelvis or the leg or the knee. I want you to begin to outwardly rotate your right foot and right ankle towards the outside. And then slowly bring it back to the center. Good. And we're going to do this about 4 times. So if you notice, Tiffany's leg is not even moving here, but she's really opening the foot all the way out. You can even feel her big toe coming up. And then softly guiding it home back to the mat on the floor. Nice, Eric, good. So this type of work is kind of like the building blocks of how we were born. When you were a baby, you began to investigate. It's kind of an experiment of investigation and discovery of how you move. So Mate, I'm going to have you just keep this leg really quiet, and you're going to really roll the whole foot off to the edge. This can be a bit challenging because as we become adults, our whole body wants to get involved and we forget how to isolate. And that's not to say that it's not a whole body exercise, because the brain and all the nervous system and all the muscular skeletal system moves together. But as we learn to isolate, the body understands the basic movement is not necessary for the whole body to take part. It's like an orchestra, okay? We can listen to the whole orchestra, or we can also just listen to the one violin. So we're listening just to the violin of the foot. Good. So guys, come back to the center. Now instead of the foot, excuse me, Tiffany, we're going to just concentrate on the upper bone of the femur of the right leg. So we're staying on the right side. So what I want you to do is drop the right leg as far out to the outside as you can go without disturbing the alignment of your pelvis or your spine. So it's a kind of a brain exercise too, because you have to talk to your leg. You go, okay, I'm just moving my thigh out. I'm just moving it back in. Slowly, slowly, because this is a slow type of work. I remember I was very impatient when I first started this kind of work. So for those of you at home, what I want you to notice is as you're moving the leg out and in, I'm watching Eric move his back in nice and smooth. And he's done this a lot. It's very smooth for him. But what I want you to notice at home is the places where it doesn't feel quite smooth. It might feel bumpy or bouncy. And also you might feel there's places where you lose control. So you might have guided it and then all of a sudden it goes woof, kind of out of control all of a sudden. Do you feel that a little bit anywhere, you guys? Yeah? Mate's shaking his head. So those areas where you might feel some bouncy jerks or losing control are the places in the body where you have lost integration, or a better word might be amnesia. And that doesn't mean that you can't get it back. We're getting it back simply by doing this intelligent work here. Good. So I want you to do, oh, I really saw your leg jerking there. So as Mate was returning back, that leg was going tick, 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 tick. Okay, now stop before you do this last one, even if you're out. So Eric's legs all twisted out. Just pause where you are, and let's all take a deep breath. Good. And then just think and feel how you're moving, and then start the discovery and complete one more round of the moving only the femur bone. Good. I'm just going to move over here. And you might start to feel there that it's becoming easier and smoother along the way. Without any judgment, it's like you're a little baby or a little kid wondering, how do I move? Right? When we're babies, it's all about the new experience. And often as adults, we forget that. We're judging it or expecting to move a certain direction. So you can finish that one there, Eric. And let's all come back to the center and move on to the next part. So the next part is moving first the foot and the ankle, the same way we began. So let's open the foot and the ankle. You'll see Tiffany move hers out. Then move the femur and the leg all the way till it meets the same angle as the ankle. Angle, ankle. So now the knee and the ankle are in the same position. Now here's the tough part. You're going to move the leg back on its own without moving the ankle or the foot. So the ankle and the foot has to stay kind of open to the side. I'm going to hold Tiffany's open while she guides her leg back to the center, which is quite a challenge. You might have to really slowly guide it into center. And then once you're back to the center, then bring the ankle and the foot back to the floor. And then we're back into the center. That's right. Nice, Mate. Yep. So I want you to do this 3 more times in your own timing and your own rhythm and pace. Again, just feeling where it's smoother, where it might be a little more resistant. And as you're moving, take the time to breathe. Take the time to stop in the centers. Nice, Eric, good. So Eric's just going to guide that leg back, and once it's center, he can bring his foot back. Nice. I encourage you to even close your eyes. Those of you at home, now that you understand it, and just feel the sensations that are engaging in the body. Is it a brain exercise, or is it a body exercise, or is it both? Simply allowing the ankle and knee, the leg and the opening of the hip, then the closing of the leg and the hip, and the centering of the ankle and the foot back to center. And what this is creating is a sense of ease in the lower spine. The lower spine is guided into the center between the 2 halves of the pelvis. And because we are anchoring and holding the pelvis in one position, while moving the lower limb of the right ankle and leg. This beautiful intelligence that's much more intelligent than we can think or perceive in our waking conscious mind goes to work. And the work that it's giving us is known as structural reintegration, the body that you were born with as a baby, that didn't have stress or computer desks or driving long periods in cars and all of the other things that we carry around with us in our lives. So complete this last round, and then we will move into the other side. But before we just move into the other side, you have a chance to observe. So I'll wait for you guys at home to catch up, and you guys all come back to the center here. Now, to straighten your legs, what I'd like for you to do is to not use any muscular energy. So drop your right knee to the floor on the outside and then stretch your leg out. It can be loose and just move it out. And then do the same thing. Drop your left knee out and then just stretch it straight out. And now take another deep breath just to feel, to witness the energy and space between the two sides. So what I notice already as I look at Eric's left side compared to the right is that the right is open. There's more of an opening in the outer leg. The rotation is greater. And because I'm here next to Tiffany, I can see that the back of her lower right side has gotten closer to the floor than the left. And so this gentle movement has allowed for relaxation. Mate, I can't tell from you from here, but it looks as if, it actually looks like it's more at home in the one side. Yeah, he's shaking his head, yeah. So we're going to return the same way. Bend one knee out to the side and bring it back up to the foot. So you bend and stand on the foot. And then the second side, we'll begin with the left ankle. So bringing both legs back up, nice and slow. And we're ready for the second side. So let's all take another deep breath. And start to lift from the left ankle, and you're just rolling the foot over onto its side. So it's almost like turning the ankle, without letting the lower leg get involved. So I'm going to help you a little bit more here. That's better. Good. Now, if you want, you can put your hands on your hips if that helps you at all. It's just a personal choice. You don't have to. Because sometimes if you just use your hands to hold them in place, it sometimes acts as a little safety belt, just so that you feel that you're not using the hip or the pelvis to basically just roll your ankle back and forth. I find that quite helpful. Good. So with the somatic practice, we do this slowly and over, anywhere between 3 and 6 times. So the slower the better, the more patient you can be. And as well, the less that we actually think and the more we can just feel it will make us smarter in terms of body, mind, intelligence, as well as the electromagnetic fields guide and energize us. So sometimes when I do this work, I feel tired. And sometimes when I do this work, I feel quite energized. And it just depends on where you might be today or tonight or wherever you're practicing with us right now. So let's move on after this next one. And move only into the left thigh. And this one can get tricky. It's like you're just guiding the bone as far as it will go, and breathing without letting the hip shift and the other leg get involved. And I will let you guys know this at home. These guys are really advanced, so they've done this a few times before. And even in an advanced practice with myself, and I know as well, I could probably speak for Eric and Tiffany and Mate, that we all feel like a beginner every time we do this. Because a beginner's mind is open to receive the information, kind of like a baby would be, or a sponge in the ocean. You're just absorbing what's happening. Yeah, nice, Eric, really good. And so, there's some jumps there at the end, I saw it. So what I noticed with Eric, he's going really beautiful, really smooth, very soft. And right at the end, when he has to use his adductors, which are the inner thigh and inner kind of groin muscles into the pelvis, there was a little jump, 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 jump. Okay? So that could be anything from a trauma. It could just be he's been driving and he got tense behind the wheel. There's a lot of stories that are written in our body's cellular DNA, and as well in the connective tissues. So it's not like we can pinpoint exactly what that jump is, but what we do know is that there's some disintegration, and we're creating integration or coordination. So it's like when you're watching a fine athlete or a dancer, or I think of like an ice skater. Everything is smooth, everything is solid. There's no place for jumps or errors when you're smoothly landing or when you're going into a turn. Good, so let this be the last one, you guys. And take a deep breath before we move into, good, nice. Putting it all together. Ankle first, then the leg meets the ankle. And allowing it to go as far as it comfortably can. And maybe even taking a moment there before you get ready to return it and taking another breath, so that the body comes to neutral and prepares itself, again, without the foresight of thinking about it. Instead, we are in it, in the present moment. So now start to guide it back, and let's see if Eric's leg starts to smooth. Well, there's the jumps. So there's still some jumpiness in there, and it closes. Good. So let's do this 3 or 4 more times on your own. And when you get to these places where there's some wobbles, some jumps in the leg, or maybe you lose control, sometimes for mine, I lose control. I want you to really slow down at that area. And that is where the great expansive growth takes place. And it's like a baby growing up from age 2 months to 8 months, right? Or when the brain starts to form. And I know that seems silly because we're all grown adults, but in truth, we still keep growing and we still keep wiring new synapses in the brain and in all the nervous system. We're keeping it strong. So we're training and retraining, and sometimes we prune off things that aren't serving us, just like when we would prune a tree. And then we create a new way, a new thought form or habit, and we let go of the old way of moving because it didn't serve us. Nice, Tiffany, good. Yeah. This is a really great exercise to do the last 30 minutes before you get in bed. I love to do this kind of Moshe Feldenkrais or somatic movement that also came from Thomas Hanna. And the people that I've studied with have always inspired me to move slower and to go to sleep afterwards if you can do it before you say goodnight. Because as we're sleeping, the parasympathetic nervous system comes back to really activate, and the thinking, awake, conscious body goes to sleep. And then in the subconscious, in the moments of sleep, when a different part of our brain awakens and the parasympathetic nervous system takes over and takes away the daily stress, processes, whether it was the day or a lifetime of tension, we are allowing a greater experience to do this type of work before bed, because then when we're sleeping, the work kind of keeps going as you're resting. All right, you guys, so this is that final one. After you finish this one, come back and just feel your center. Notice how your back feels. And then you can move the arms and drop the legs out to each side and just straighten them out fully. And notice, and you guys do that at home, just relax. I think I heard a hip pop. I think something really did reintegrate in Tiffany's hip. I heard a clunk. So it's interesting because I have the same thing sometimes. The softness of this work will move more in my body than an hour and a half class of yoga or an hour and a half deep tissue massage. It's quite remarkable, and it takes some maturity. I remember when I first did this type of work, I was very impatient. I'm grateful that I was able to study with some good teachers who taught me that slowing down, and I think we could put that forward into all of our daily lives, that slowing down is really where it's at these days. Taking pause, taking a nap, turning off the computer, going back into the home that is here in our bodies. Our next series is going to bring us to the inner rotators of the hips and the legs. So the last one was about outer rotators, and this one is a really good one to follow up with. Or if you feel that this is something that you have a hard time in your daily life with inwardly rotating the legs in the hip joints, you can also just practice this one. But combined together, they create a balance between both sides. So here with my friends again, and I'm going to ask them to bend their right knee just out to the side, nice and soft, and then just bring it up so that the knee faces the ceiling and they stand on the right foot. And then the same thing with the left. So as they sweep their knee out to the side, what's happening is they don't have to engage their hip flexors. And we don't create any sort of tension in the hips or in the body. Soft is the best. Now, I'd like for you to take your right foot and walk it like heel toe out as far as it comfortably feels, maybe just two or three times. So you're going to bring it this way. Mate, heel toe, kind of off to the right side of your mat. So your foot is wider than your hip. A little bit more. Good. Exactly. The left leg is still straight and parallel. The right one is off to the side. So now this exercise is really simple and soft. All I want you to do is allow the right leg and knee, the bone of the femur, and the entire leg will even roll off the foot, and I want you to drop it towards the center of your body. So it's going to kind of move towards the floor. And the outer foot will lift away. Good. And we try not to move the pelvis too much. Okay? Then once it's in the center, bring it right back to where you started. And so what's interesting is to pay attention to what all in the body works to simply move this leg. So there is movement in the pelvis. There is some movement in your abdominal core. But instead of moving the bones of the spine or the pelvis, we're just simply moving the bone of the right leg as far as it will go, and then reaching it back out to the center. Yes. Okay, and do that 2 more times on your own. So for me, I know this is one of my biggest challenges. Usually when I begin, I can barely even go towards the center. My leg will be kind of hanging out up here somewhere. But slowly, slowly, as we increase the repetition and place our full mindful awareness on the movement itself, the leg starts to soften, and it's softening where the ball and socket joint is. The ball and socket joint being where the femur moves inside of the hip, transversing around all of the inner computer system inside the body. Good. So the next time you all bring your knee into the center, I want you to leave it there. So this last time, drop it down and keep it there. And then place your hands on your pelvis. So your fingers are kind of on the fronts of the hip bones. And you can even put your thumbs on the back if you're holding your pelvis. And with your leg fallen into the center, I want you to begin to rock your pelvis forward and backwards, like from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock, or what would be also known as anterior and posterior rocking. Some people call it thrusting, some people call it tucking. It's a rock of going from behind neutral and in front of neutral. And what I want you to feel and notice as you rock the pelvis forward and back is what happens to the right leg. Do you notice how it starts to fall a little closer to the center? Yeah? You guys can shake your head if you want. You can even say yes. And I find it so amazing how the simplicity of just moving the pelvis back and forth, forward and back, we see this right knee drop further towards the center. Tiffany's is almost to the floor. Good. So finally come back to the center and just let your knee fall and hang. Let's try to keep the pelvis a little more square here, Eric. Yeah, good. Okay, let's all take a deep breath. And as you exhale, surrender into this shape. The shape of, surrender. And then slowly begin to bring your leg back to the original side. And then heel toe all the way back into the original parallel position. And then drop your legs back out one at a time to straighten them. You're doing Shavasana. And you can release your hands and notice and feel how the space may have changed. And notice and feel the sensations of peace and ease in the mind-body connection. So we are in this stillness and integration where there's nothing getting in the way of the simplicity of this nervous system, skeletal system, mind-body connection, just to simply integrate itself back to its normal home, the home of you. Good. So let's move and do the second side, and then we will have this side completed. This whole section of hips in our somatics. So dragging one leg back up at a time, and then once you're back to the center, heel toe the left foot, I should say, all the way away from center. So it feels comfortable, and you might even notice one side feels very different, and that's okay. You want to hold on to your pelvis. It's just a personal choice. You don't have to. Just to make sure we don't change the position and then begin to drop the left knee and rotate towards the center. Let's keep the pelvis square there. So if it doesn't go very far, that's okay. And then just start to take it back along its journey. So what I'm noticing with Eric, and I don't know, I would imagine he notices it too, is that on his left inner rotator, the adductor, which is what adds the leg back to the body, I think he's had a little bit of amnesia. Not him personally, but that part of his physical body. And the electrical part of his energy body as well, because that is what's guiding energy and mind. But I would imagine, so let's not rock it yet. I want you to do just about 2 more, just out and in. So if you're feeling this at home, and I often feel this myself, patience is going to be your best of friend right now. And the softness and the slowness will reveal to you where it may be that needs more attention. So by slowing down, we are acknowledging this part of our body that might have been neglected. And that's kind of what happens when we start to feel and witness what's been neglected, and then as we give it the attention, so now let's going to start to rock the pelvis forward and back. The knee stays in. Okay, so as the knee stays in here, Eric, just start to rock the pelvis from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Trying to keep a little more square. Yeah. So go down to 6. And arch your back so the back will almost lift, exactly. Let the knee fall a little more. There we go. Now come back and press the back down and take the pelvis towards 12 o'clock. Right. Good, and keep going there. So I like to think of it as sometimes when you need to be acknowledged or recognized for something you've done, or you just want to say thank you to someone in your life for something they might have done for you. And the acknowledgement of gratitude is one of the most perfect energies that we can feel or bestow onto someone else. So this kind of work is acknowledging a certain area of the body. And when we bestow that gratitude back to an area of our body feels like saying thank you. And it feels safe to relax. It remembers where it came from. And that's kind of a philosophical discussion on its own. Do we remember where we came from? I think most of us love that and discovering in our lives daily what is our purpose, what is our highest purpose. And getting to know thyself, it's not a narcissistic thing. It is knowing that your body is your temple, it is your home. It is a gift. And so when we acknowledge it in all of its capacity for greatness, for healing, and for integration, it begins to ease, give us back that care and love, and we feel from the inside our body says thank you. Good. So let's prepare to come out of this, you guys. Just slowly moving the leg all the way back out until you feel your foot flat on the floor. And then once you find it in that position, walk your foot back to center. And drop your arms away and drop your legs out of the way again. And I'll just move out of your way. That looks great. Excellent. So for those of you at home, thank you for being here. And I hope you enjoyed it. Just stay here in this relaxing, what we call Shavasana, or the pose of the corpse. We all need a pause, and we all need the opportunity to receive. So we're just resting, receiving in full surrender, and integrating the intelligence of the mind and the body and our spirit connection. Thank you for being here. Namaste.